Hi, Chaya.
Hi, how are you, Rachel? It's been such a while.
One time. How you doing?
I'm good. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I'm so happy that we got to get together tonight. We're both like scrambling, right? In between lots of stuff. It is, and hello, welcome to anyone who is watching or listening to our latest installment. It is the 21st. It just became the 21st of Kislev. Well, actually a few hours ago by now. We're approaching Hanukkah, and this is practical chizuk and emuna in Shidduchim and dating. And this is Rachel Burnham from dategreat.com. She's really a godsend, truly, to the dating world and the moms and parents of the dating people out there. And I'm Chaya Parkoff, licensed clinical social worker, first class aging, counseling, and consulting. Rachel, I don't know if you have any questions on your mind, but I have like a really pressing issue on my mind that I was hoping I could bring to you.
Go for it.
And help flesh it out a little bit and maybe give us some chizuk. And this is something that's personal. This has been something that I've experienced personally. And professionally, I see it in, from my clients, therapy clients, and also in some of the shadchanis that I dabble in. There are so many broken engagements, divorces shortly after marriage, 6 months into marriage, and they're getting divorced a few years into marriage. And my daughter had a broken engagement, and thank God, it was a great boy, just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. But I feel like, on the one hand, obviously everyone has a story and everyone has their journey, and we go through what we go through, but we also can learn from each other. And I feel like there's a lot for us to learn, and I'm hoping that you will be able to share some of your wisdom. How do we prevent this? I'm really all about being proactive. I think being proactive is much better than being reactive. And so I'm just wondering, there's got to be a way. We know there's signposts, there's things to. How do you prevent this? How do we prevent this?
Okay. Let's get started. It's a big topic. It's going to take us probably the whole time.
Okay.
So please excuse my sore throat. So if I grab a drink of water, you'll, there we go. We're even.
My tea, here's real impact.
Perfect. There you go.
My friend's business.
So, okay. There are many schools of thought when it comes to engagement. Here are some of the few that of the bunch that I've heard. We live in a throwaway generation. Kids today it's broken, just throw it away, get a new one. Mm-hmm. People are harping on things that are not that big a deal. They're just kind of too lazy to make it work because they think it's got to be all perfect. And if it ain't perfect, then I'm not even putting in the effort. Things like, the family said this, that family said that, forget it. If they said that, it's over. You said that about my parents, I said that about your parents, it's over. She did something that I didn't like. Could you imagine? It's over. Right? I just wasn't feeling it. Okay? I just wasn't feeling it.
Be feeling it, yeah.
Right? The Rav said it would come later. The Rav said it would come. He said, well, he gave me a bracha. Okay? My parents said it's a good idea. My parents said, look at the paper. Like we're perfect for each other. Like we make so much sense. We just have to make it work. Okay? So there are many more comments like this. Do you want to be an older single? Really, do you want to be an older single? Right? Okay. So I myself got married at 34 because I was that older single. I had an official broken engagement. I had unofficial multiple broken engagements because I was too scared to make them public. So I just kind of kept them quiet. And some of them exploded. So I can talk about this, but here's the reality. Every person is an olam maleh. Every person is their own world. and every person has different needs and different experiences, and no two people are going to have the same story, nor do they have to. And so there's a lot of general thoughts about broken engagements, and we'll move towards divorce, but let's work on broken engagements first. But
if we can avoid those, then we don't have to worry about divorces, right?
Exactly. But it's a very, very uncomfortable thing when people feel like they're being lumped in a whole category because they had a broken engagement. Because if you speak to 20 people who had a broken engagement, they all had very different experiences.
Absolutely.
Some of the experiences where they found out that someone was really unstable, unhealthy, unfit for marriage at all to anybody, that the relationship was toxic, that they felt unsafe, that they were lied to. And yeah, maybe they were lazy and didn't want to work on certain things, but you know what? They found that out now, that they were dealing with someone who didn't want to put effort into a relationship. So there's so many different ways in which we could look at this. One of the important things is to make sure that we're looking at it with sensitivity. Everybody has their own experience. No two stories are the same. And I really think it's very important to give respect and sensitivity to those that have gone through it. I've been through it. It's a very isolating, embarrassing, uncomfortable place to be. It feels like you were a failure, even though you weren't, but it feels that way. You've disappointed so many people. You've spent a lot of people's money. You know, people put down deposits on halls and gowns and shaitels, and it feels like you've hurt a lot of people, including the guy or girl, right? So it feels like, oh my gosh, this whole mess happened because of me, whether or not I did it or it happened to me. People booked flights, they put down deposits. I feel like a failure. Why can't I just get my act together and just be quiet and just get married? You know, just don't make a fuss, right? And so it's really important to give the person who is going through this the due respect that is appropriate. That's one thing. And also respect the fact that it's not your business exactly what happened. Right. You know, when people get engaged, oh, what happened? Yeah, really? He was unstable? Oh, they didn't want to give money? Oh, he was on medication. Oh, he smokes, really? People are so interested and so nosy in knowing business that does not belong to them. And it's very sad. It's very sad because it's a very painful experience. And what ends up happening is most people are very nosy, but they're not invested in being there supportively for the person. They're just they want to know what happened because they want to be nosy, and then they disappear. They disappear because they're awkward. It's like, you know, when you go to a shiva, what do you say? It's awkward. We don't like awkward situations. You go to shul, you see the guy, he just broke his engagement yesterday. You just avoid him because you don't want to say, you must be going through a hard time and you don't have to speak about it, but I just want you to know I'm thinking of you and I'm here for you, right? Most people don't have the strength to say that. You don't have to tell me the details. That's like one of the best things you can tell someone. It's not my business. I just want you to know I'm thinking of you and I'm here for you. That's it, right? So people want to know the business, but then they don't want to contribute to the emotional support. So that's a problem that we have in our community. And I once heard that.
Because also it's contagious, you know.
Right.
It's contagious.
Well, you know,
I had to stay away from her. She had a broken engagement. Maybe it'll happen to me, you know, my kid.
Funny thing, like in the frum community, we have like brachos for everything. And we have like, when you go to shiva, so you say like the hamakom sentence. And when we go to a wedding, we know like what the mazel tovs to say. And we go to the shiva brachos. Like, we know what to say for all these situations. But like, there's no like pasuk or like chazal that we say when you hear someone is engaged. Like, we just get awkward. We just don't know what to do. So we just disappear. Or, you know, you could say like, oh, gamzu latova, you know, that cliche statement, which means a lot of everything and nothing. You know, it's for someone who's gone through so much, it could feel a little bit patronizing, you know. And of course, that person is watching all their friends get married and have all their engagements and have their babies, and they're kind of left in the dark. And it's painful. And it's painful. And even though they know deep down they made the right decision, right? They feel this sense of like, I have to convince everybody that I made the right decision, even though I really don't. I know I made the right decision. I spoke to my therapist, my dating coach, my Rav, my parents. I know I made the right decision, but everyone kind of feels the need to like, you know, pressure me for either what happened, or I feel like I have to justify why I did it in order to maintain my normalcy, in order to maintain I'm still a healthy person. And there's something very wrong with that, right? So we have to protect the integrity and the mental health of the people that are going through it. Because very often, even though it's, you know, difficult to do, it's very brave. It's very hard and it's very painful, but they're doing it because they're trying to prevent a divorce in the future. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of lay the foundation of maybe working on a little sensitivity when we deal with people that have gone through broken engagements. I think that it's not a very talked about topic, and I think that it's important.
I'm so glad you brought that up, and I will tell you it's extremely brave to do it, and it's also extremely painful, even though when you know it's the right thing. And it reminds me of what my teacher Esther Wien always says, that her grandfather of Shimon Schwab would say when people are, going through a difficult time, and I can tell you this professionally, I say this a lot, is I'm with you in your pain.
Exactly.
I'm with you in your
pain. That's all you can say.
All people want to know is they're not alone. You don't have gone through it. Just, I'm with you.
And you don't have to know the details to be there for somebody. Right. Exactly.
The details. All I want you to know is I'm with you.
Exactly.
With you.
Exactly.
And, so thank you for.
I wanted to just start out with that sensitivity because I feel like as a community we could all really work on that a bit. I
agree 100%.
Work on, not yenting, not to yenta. Oh, really? What happened? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. All that yenting, to calm down and to just show support and not disappear, because it's a time when a person really needs family and friends and support to know that they're still loved and accepted, even though they may have gone through something difficult. And maybe people on the outside don't agree with that. Right. But the time when they need someone the most, people tend to disappear because either they feel like, oh my gosh, she's so picky, she's ridiculous, like just get married, enough with this nonsense. You are just never going to get married with this attitude of he has to be perfect. And they don't know the story, right? So, nobody gets up in the morning and says, hey, I have a great idea. Let's do something fun. Let's break an engagement. You know what I mean? Nobody's doing this for fun. This is painful. This is a very, very excruciating process because we feel that there is a greater good, which is let's not get divorced. Right. Okay? So I really think it's important to just be sensitive there.
And I think, Rachel, sensitivity and give the person dignity and integrity. Bottom line is, it's lashon hara. If you gossip about it, there's all sorts of, I don't know, all the different names for the thing, but saying something that's not kind is also Issur D'Oraisa. Like, these are prohibited from the Torah, straight out, right? So just from a halachic standpoint, we have to watch our tongue, right? But then
people are not even going to do that chesed and saying, I'm here for you, let's go out to eat.
Right. At least just
exactly
say the not good stuff,
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Better to be thought of as a fool than open your mouth and confirm it,
Exactly.
Okay, so I just wanted to lay the foundation for just sensitivities in general with engagement, and obviously that goes with divorce as well, but okay. The next thing I wanted to move into is so why is this happening so much? What is going on? Okay. Now, I can't give you all the reasons because there's so many different stories. But I'm going to give you a few that I think I have seen in the past that can be contributing to it. So we have in our frum community this wonderful thing called marriage. And because we have so many laws around marriage that protect marriage, and we believe that many things should be saved for marriage, we hold that value very, very dear, as we should. What has happened because of that is that as we hold that value very dear, it's almost like a club that if you're not in it, you're just not in the in club. You're just not. Oh, you're single. And the singles know this, which is they've kind of formed their own club, but yet they all know that they haven't quite made it, or that's at least the way they're made to feel, because they're not in the in club, which is what everyone else is, for the most part, doing, the married and kids thing. Okay? So what happens is that without meaning it, we create this societal pressure that I need to get married, I need to get married, I need to get married, I need to get married now, I need to get married. I have girls calling me, guys calling me who are in the most unhealthy relationships, but they cannot even think about having to start all over again and having to date all over because I need to get married now because I'm 30, whatever, I need to get married now. And they are literally, I'm like, are you really willing to get into a relationship that is detrimental to your mental and emotional health because you just want to be married? And they will say, yes, I just want to be married. I just want to have kids. I've waited this long for the right one. If I can't find him, I'll just get married and have kids, or I'll just get married and get divorced. I need to have children, right? And where is this coming from? It's coming from a pressure that, even though it's not a very overt pressure, it's like a subtle pressure that like you are not complete without being married, which in a sense is true. But in our society, you really have no place unless you're married, right? And you don't have much of a voice either. As somebody told me when I was single, when you have a ring on your finger, I'd love to hear your opinion. Okay? So the point is, yeah.
And look at you now, girl.
Oh, here's the funny thing. I was the same person then as I am now. Yes, I got married. But it's like the day after I put on a sheitel, all of a sudden my opinion mattered. It was such a funny thing. I said yes to this guy. He put a ring on it. And next thing I know, everybody wanted to hear my opinion, right, which was insulting because, come on. I did evolve into a married woman, but I had the same level of intelligence. I had the same opinion. Anyhow, point is that we have to work on, as a society, pushing a different message. Getting married is very important, but getting married to the right person at the right time, which is very different for everybody. 19 is not the perfect number for everybody. It just isn't. And what if that perfect man or that wonderful relationship, that deep, meaningful relationship that you're going to find at 25 or 35? That is better for you to wait for than to suffer through years of being in an unhappy marriage just because everyone said get married.
I know.
And I speak to a lot of people like, well, my parents said, the Rav said, the Shadchan said. I hear that. The reality is that as much as we want to rely on Shadchanim and parents and Rabbanim and therapists, those are all good things. When the music stops and the doors close, you will be with this person on your own. And if it doesn't work for you personally, you're going to be the one in trouble, not them. So we have to start building a little bit more confidence in our singles that, this is not the time for this, but another big thing that I advocate for is standing up to shadchan bullies. Okay, there's a lot of shadchan bullying going on, where like pushing them into dates and pushing them, convincing them that there is chemistry and convincing them it's like, I went out once, I really don't think it's for me. Okay, just go out another time. Okay, it's really not for me. Just go one more time. Then when you go to fourth, fifth date, what do you mean you went out 4 or 5 times already? Why would you not continue? You guys are serious. Serious. I went out to make you happy because I thought I'd like give him enough chances and you'd say, it's okay. Next thing you know, you would want to drop him after 5 dates. You have to for sure give him more of a shot. Right? And this is serious already. You're serious. How you wouldn't have gone out with him 6 times if you didn't really like him. So we get into this, what's the perfect number to drop a guy or a girl, right? So
I wanna say that this is, I'm gonna put in a unsolicited by you, but solicited by me here, plug for Rachel, because you empower the kids to be able to stand up to that, right? Because the conversations that you have, I now have 2 daughters that they don't have to call me after their dates now. They call you. And then they call me relieved that because I'm not involved. They'd love to be able to talk to me without, we're very close, Baruch Hashem, right? But it's too close. It's too close. I can't even get around my own feelings sometimes, because it's too close. I could do it with other people. Right. I have these great conversations. So having Rachel is so helpful because you are able to empower them to be able to say yes to the people they should be saying yes to and no to the people they should be saying no to. And I think that is so critical. And so I just want to put in a plug for her, for you, Rachel, that, for those of you listening or watching, if you're, and even for the moms, I have a tab with you, that when I need a conversation, I can call you to just help me disentangle any of the emotions that might be clouding, my clarity. So it's really important because we've been through some, I never really labeled them shadchan bullies because they're so nice, but it's bullying, in a sense. It's very nice, sweet bullying.
I have a client who told me that she's like, it's great. Ever since I met you, like I never have to stress about dating because I've completely outsourced my dating stress. Like you just take care
of That's exactly it. We outsource the dating stress. I always say, if you want to worry about something, my mother will worry for you. You can I outsource all my worrying, and now I outsource all the dating worries to you. My kids, they just bring it to you.
My pleasure.
So it's money well spent.
Thank you.
So
let's get back to the topic at hand. Okay, so a few things that we have to work on as a community is empowering our singles to know who they are, what they actually need in a relationship versus what they want. We've discussed this before, okay? And being confident to stand up and say, he's a wonderful boy. It makes a lot of sense on paper, but it's the wrong fit for me. And sometimes we might feel comfortable saying why, and sometimes we might not. But not feeling the pressure to have to keep going out with someone that just first dates over and over again, and it's a nice guy, but it's just not going anywhere. We're just wasting a lot of people's time. And I am an advocate for giving things a real fair shot. But like I say, you know, we take it till the end. The end might be one date. Date till you hate, right? It could be that was one date. It could be that it's 5. I don't know. But we want to not regret our decision of saying no, but we also want to make sure that we're giving things a fair shot. It's a touchy balance. And I really think
you didn't want to go out on your second date, right?
I don't know about my husband, definitely not. Everyone knows. So if we can help to empower our young men and women to know who they are, to know what they're looking for, to know what they could really handle and what they really can't, we'll be doing them a great service. Now, here's something that we don't prepare them for. When I speak to girls or guys, they're very quick and easy to tell me all the things they want. I've never had somebody said to me, these are the things that I don't want, but these are things I could handle, right? We all know that people don't come in perfect packages. We all know that fantasy is just that. It's fantasy and it's not reality. And we know that people are human and everyone has flaws. We like to say that. But when we actually bump up against it in a date, like, ooh, what was that me though? That makes me feel uncomfortable. So we don't really know how to handle that. And we get very, I don't know. I just saw part of him, but I don't like. Wait, does that mean that there's no parts of you that we don't like? Or you think that he doesn't like? Right? So looking at ourselves in the mirror is also very helpful. And being able to say, like, these are the middos that if they weren't perfect, I can handle that. If someone was perpetually late, you know, I could live with that. I would rather than him have an anger management issue.
Exactly.
You know, if somebody was very messy, I think I could deal with that. You know, if someone wasn't well dressed, I'll take him shopping. Right? What are the things that are not perfect that you can handle? Because they're gonna come up. So start picking the things that you can handle, because when people give me these beautiful laundry lists of all the wonderful, perfect qualities that they're looking for, I mean, it sounds beautiful and perfect. It just doesn't sound like a human being. It sounds like a robot.
Artificial intelligence, you know?
Right.
Maybe that's the answer. They'll create.
That's a great idea. Or it sounds like an Amazon order. Like I put in my specs, it pops up, Prime delivers it tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Like
Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head, exactly.
These eyes, this height, this
Exactly. But it doesn't actually sound real. Or maybe it sounds like 5 husbands. You know, he should be super laid back and very chill and very family oriented, but be very ambitious when it comes to making money and always be home for the family and learning all the time. How many husbands did you just marry? Right? Okay. So obviously this is coming from singles who are a little bit, you know, living in fantasy, as I was when I was single, right? And so it's very important to help them clarify what is really important. What do they really need? And what are the flaws that they're comfortable dealing with? So I do ask people when you're dating someone, can you name me 3 flaws and tell me how you're going to live with those, right? And if you don't know 3 flaws, then you don't know him well enough. And if you name 3 flaws and you think you can't handle any of them, that's a problem, right? So we have to work on helping to empower our singles to know themselves, because what happens is that early on in the dating process, I feel that we've coached and coddled our boys and girls in the yeshiva system and the Beis Yaakov system. We've protected them, and all they have to do is study this information and they get 100, and all they have to do is like learn this and daven this, and like everything's going to be great. But then they don't have the ability to think for themselves, and so they go to the Rav and they go to the coach and they go to the parent and they go to the Rebbe, and they can't make a decision for themselves, right? And so they want to outsource, like, someone just make this decision. Should I marry him or not? Right. And here's the thing. I tell people all the time, I will never tell you to marry someone. I will never tell you to break up with somebody, because that's not a decision I can make. You know why? I'm not going to live with that commitment. I made that decision. I made that decision once, and I will live with that commitment, Baruch Hashem, for the rest of my life. But I can't make that decision for you, because you're the one who's going to be the one to have to live with that. And it's super important to make that decision for yourself, because you have to hear yourself say, I want to marry this person. It's going to carry you through life. I want this life. I want this future. I want this person with all their amazing qualities and all their flaws. I want all of it. I want all of his perfectly imperfect imperfections and perfections. I want all of it.
You know what's fascinating about it is that, I mean, again, I know this personally. I'm married 28 and a half years, thank God, and work with lots of people that are married. The thing that drives you nuts on a Monday could be the most endearing thing on Tuesday.
Oh, totally. I say that all the time. The thing that you marry that person for, the thing that you crazy about is the thing we'll go nuts over, because midos don't split. So when you take that midah, right? And he's the kind of guy who like never gets flustered, totally chill, you know, like the pot can be on fire. And, you know, my husband was cooking the other day and was chopping an onion and wanted to make me dinner. So sweet. Sure, honey. And instead of the onion, he chopped off his thumb.
Oh my God.
And he calmly says, I think I cut myself. And I was like, what? Oh my God, you were to the hospital. I was like, are you in pain? He's like, I'm in a lot of pain, but getting upset about it's not going to really do anything.
Wow.
You know, I don't want to get the kids nervous. I don't want to get them upset or frightened. And I'm thinking, this is why I married him. Cool, calm, and collected, always, right? So, you know, it's also the thing that like sometimes will make you go crazy. Like, come on, let's go. Why didn't you get it? Right?
Exactly.
So we have to know that we have to keep that, be mindful of that. But I feel that empowering our singles to know who they are and what they're looking for will give them a strength that when they need to make a decision, they can make that decision themselves properly, won't have to hold anyone else accountable for, I got engaged because the Rav said, the therapist said, this one said, that one said. And so they will feel confident in their decision because they made it and they own it. Okay, so that's one very big piece.
And they can't blame anyone after, right?
Right.
Be, well, she told me and he told me.
Exactly.
And I think also that, just before you move on to the next piece, is that, because here's the other piece. Everything that you think you know about the person before you marry them is like a minutia of actually who they are.
Right.
First of all, you're not going to be able to see every single solitary thing. Secondly, people evolve and change, and life.
You never see them in marriage. They've never seen themselves in marriage.
You don't know. So I think that empowering them to know who they are, really take a good look at the person that they're going to be with and be honest about the flaws they recognize and being realistic about them, will at least put that at bay so that when other stuff pops up, you're not dealing with that stuff and all the stuff that, again, this is about being proactive, that you could have already kind of acknowledged, and it wouldn't be, you know, so.
And as we said before, marriage is not a hospital, so everyone needs to take care of their stuff before they get to the door of marriage, right? So that's super important, but that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, 100%. So another piece that I think is really important, and I think I feel this very deeply because this is something that happened to me. We want everyone to get married, and we want them to get married as soon as possible in the Frum community. So here's the thing. These are the things that the Frum community is not saying, but we know are true. We want everyone to get married. We want everyone to have kids, and we want them to do it young and fast, okay? And we want it to all look like a pretty little package tied in a bow. But we're not so comfortable with when it doesn't look tied in a bow. You know, we want that the family should be intact and that the guy should go to the right yeshiva and he should have the right hat and the right shirt and the right degree or the right, whatever it is, right? And we want it all to look very, very good externally and internally. We don't have patience for a relationship to develop. And most girls that I speak to are very panicked. You know what they're so panicked about? They need to know if it's going to work. Am I going to marry him or not? Who cares? I don't know. We're dating. How could we answer that question now? We're dating. Right? But I need to know, like, I don't know if it's going to work. And I'm so nervous. Like, what if it works out? Well, but nothing worked out yet. We're just dating. And so I often tell people, we're not dating. We are exploring. Going on an adventure. And we are exploring.
Research project.
It's a research project. I'm getting to know you. I'm getting to understand you. I'm getting to like you. I'm seeing what makes you happy, what makes you sad. What is your deeper side look like? What are your fears? What are your dreams, right? And those things slowly contribute to, I don't know, would I like to spend my life with you? Over time, I really can't imagine my life without you. You've become such an integral part of my life, right? Or I really don't want to see you anymore because this is just not going anywhere. You're a great person. I'm a great person. But like, no kesher here. There's just no chemistry, and it's not going anywhere. So, right? So we get ourselves all stressed out about the anxiety of we need to know. And some of this anxiety comes from our society because we have a certain prescribed number of dates or number of weeks or months that we have decided. And I don't know who decided this. Maybe some lady sitting in Bar Park. I don't know. But we have decided that there's a certain amount of time that a couple should date. For some people, X amount of weeks or months is too little, and X amount of weeks or months is too much. And we make very quick judgment calls in our mind. Oh, they were dating for 8 months. Oh, they were dating for 2 weeks. Oh, 2 weeks. Right? And so people create these judgments. And like, I don't even know why, because every couple operates in a very different way, has very different chemistry, has very different needs. What the most important thing is not the weeks or the months. That's nobody's business, frankly. What's most important is that people are actually ready when they get to that stage. And some people are ready sooner, and some people are ready later. And I just dealt with a couple where this guy had such commitment issues that he couldn't even think of dating shortly. And he told her right away on a first date, I will be dating for a very long time. I'm super scared. I'm super commitment phobic. If I get married, it's going to need to be someone who's super patient. And after 7 months of dating him, he said to her, I think that maybe I would consider ourselves serious. What do you think? Okay? This is what we're talking about, right? So everyone has their own like internal barometer of what works for them. And as a society, we do pressure people to move fast. So you're supposed to make the biggest decision of your life with frankly the least information, because you don't really know this person. You called 3 strangers, 4 strangers on a resume, right? You got this name, you don't know him. You read the references, you don't know them. In a city you've never been to, right? And you're supposed to make a recommendation to your child based on the references of 3 strangers that you don't really know. And your kid goes out and then all of a sudden gets pressured, gets pressured by the shidduchim, pressured by the rav, pressured by who knows where. And she or he knows that society wants them to get married. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, what's going on? I mean, you know him already 3 weeks. Come on, 4 weeks, 6, 2 months you're dating him? You don't know? And so there's this constant feeling of pressure. You know, so I was told when I was dating, you're not dating, you're hanging out. This isn't appropriate. Either you get engaged or you break up. That's what I was told. And I wasn't ready to break up because looking back, I was just in the process of still dating. I was still exploring. There were lots of things that I liked, and there were lots of things that I was concerned about. And I really didn't know. I was just exploring, and I was trying to explore. But at the time I was so young, I was 21, and someone said, you're not dating, you're hanging out. So, well, I was a good girl. I didn't want to hang out. I didn't want to be the bum. Oh, I guess, well, if I don't want to break up with him, I guess I should get engaged. Is that what people do? Yes, that's what people do. Oh, okay. Well, okay. And the whole thing exploded, right? So it would have been nice if I felt comfortable, and I'm sharing this personally because, and that's only one of my engagement stories, but I'm sharing this personally because I think it's really important for people to hear that the pressure that you put on either subtly or non-subtly is very destructive. This is a decision that has to be made from the person. There has to be a will. There has to be a want. If there isn't that will and want, how do you think they're going to work out things when they have the hard times? If the good times look so bad, what are the bad times going to look like, right? And we all know marriage has its ups and downs and its challenges, but the connection, you want it to be healthy and solid and respectful and deep. And I think that as a community, we put way too much pressure on our singles to get married very, very quickly with very little information and make a decision as fast as possible. So here's what happens. A couple gets a name. I look into him. I don't know these references. They say he's a great guy. Sounds okay. My daughter goes out. I don't know. Shots like, give it another chance. Okay. Right. Goes out. Give it another chance. Okay. All right. She's already given it 5 chances. She doesn't really feel much. But he's a nice guy. He learns, he works, he's got a nice family. There's nothing wrong with him at all. Go to the Rav. Rav says continue. Okay, I go to him after 15, 20 dates. I'm just not feeling it. I just don't feel it. The Rav says, don't worry, it's going to come. Chemistry, it'll come after marriage. Okay.
Which is like so not true. It's like so not.
So this is how I discuss chemistry. Chemistry is a seed. If you have just a seed that can be planted and watered and given sun, it can grow. But you can't grow a plant without a seed.
Right. Well, technically you can, but in this metaphor you can't. Right.
Right. Okay. So you need to have some sort of connection, some chemistry, some attraction, some willing and wanting to continue that allows you to say, like, I can work with this. I can grow this. I can nurture this.
It's
right?
not yesh me'ayin. It's
Exactly.
yesh me'yesh. It's
Exactly.
yesh me'yesh, right?
Exactly.
It has to be a yesh.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'll never forget a, Mishpacha magazine article that once came out about couples that were not miserably married. They were happily unhappy, meaning they were married to good people who were menschlach, who were frum, who learned, who were caring to them, who were thoughtful. And both of them came from great families, and on paper, it looked wonderful. But either there was no chemistry, or there was a lack of connection, or they just didn't really enjoy being together. And everyone said, don't worry, it's going to be good. And these couples have to live with this, and they have to raise families like this. And you took the one relationship in their life, which is supposed to be the most loving, the most connected, the most safe, the most, it's your confidant, it's your best friend, it's your everything. And you took that from them because you decided that the papers look good, therefore it should work. Now here's the harsh reality. Papers don't get married.
People get married.
People. Did you ever notice that when you went to the chuppah of a wedding, you didn't see two pieces of paper standing under it? You saw two people. Yes.
Oh.
And did you ever notice that when you see a couple sometimes, like Bali Tshuva couple, very often you'll be like, that is such an interesting shidduch.
Yeah.
Put it together. But it works. No. They didn't have paper.
They didn't have paper. Right. I see what you mean. They get the
Their
paper.
backgrounds are so different.
Right. That's me and my husband. Oh my gosh.
One is less from, one is older, one is younger, one is super intellectual, one's a social butterfly. And you're thinking, how did that happen? But you know what it did? You know why? Because in that case, the people got married and continuously choose to make that relationship work and to work on it and work on themselves and make it happen every day. Right? And no, it doesn't look so perfect on paper, but it works. So it's much more important to focus on what works. So what we have going on is couples that are basically on paper doing well, or very often on paper doing well, a lot of pressure coming from the shadchan, society, parents, siblings, friends. Come on. Marriage is so awesome. Just get married. Yeah, you're talking about your marriage. The friends are talking about themselves. And I'm happy if their friends are having a great relationship. That doesn't mean that that's actually reality for this relationship, right? And what happens is that when couples get engaged, they feel this pressure to get engaged because the time is up. You've had your whatever. In every culture, in every pseudo from culture, it's like in the Hasidic world, X amount of time is normal, and everyone's got their normal, whatever that means, right? And then people feel like, oh, if I go out too long, it's inappropriate. If I go out too short, it's weird. People will be like, you dated him for a week? Like, you went to YU and you dated him for a week? Like, what, you're Hasidish and you dated him for 6 months? Like, that's not appropriate, right? So we have to work within the appropriateness of our culture and our society, and that puts a lot of pressure. And so what you have is a lot of couples that are getting engaged because that's the natural next step. It's not necessarily what they want. It's not necessarily what they're ready for, but they're just doing it. And then what happens during engagement is they're actually really dating. They actually continue to date. And very often they realize, wait a minute, we're like not a shidduch. Our parents pushed us, the pshatchen, the papers made sense, but like, I don't really want to build a life with you. You're a great person, but we have such different values and we have such different needs, and we're built so different, and I don't feel like we could bridge a gap here, and you're a good person. I don't want to hurt you. Right? And a lot of these broken engagements are not painful because there really wasn't much of a connection to begin with. And so it would be much smarter if we could just allow our couples to take the time that's needed. And sometimes these girls and boys are pressuring themselves because they so badly want to be engaged.
Totally.
Like there's this utopian society called engaged and married, and all of a sudden they get married or engaged and they're like, whoa, what just happened? Wow, this is different than I thought, right? I deal with a lot of the behind the scenes of what goes on before engagement. And a lot of singles are like my friend got married last night and everyone's singing and dancing and she looked so crazy. I'm like, I know your friend. I spoke to her for months. She's so, like, I wouldn't say that to the girl, but in my head, I'm thinking, I know this girl. She had so much anxiety. Like, you don't know the backstory. But yes, when you go through the process, you work things out, you get through the hard stuff, and then the music starts playing and you've gotten to that day and you're ready for it. Yeah, let's throw a big simcha and dance and sing. So, you know, people are very unrealistic with those.
They're unrealistic. They're unrealistic.
They don't know what goes on behind the scenes,
Right.
hard work that it takes to build a relationship, right? Also, couples get married, engaged so early now that they haven't really gone through anything as a couple.
Yes.
And so when something hits, like, well, I don't want to get married in that hall. That's like, that hall's really like low class. Like, and he's like, well, my parents can't afford it.
Right.
But I mean, but I always dreamt of getting married in Terrace on the Park.
Right.
Like, there's no way my parents are going to make a wedding in Terrace on the Park. They would feel so uncomfortable, right? So,
right.
What do you do with these clashes now, right? So you have, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, a challenge. Oh, we must be wrong for each other because like we're disagreeing. They've never dated long enough to disagree, which is why I tell all my couples, you need to date long enough to have a disagreement and work through it and see that you can communicate and you can respect each other and you can disagree nicely, kindly as friends. And then we'll talk about when you're ready for engagement, because until that point, like nothing's real. You know, like my husband likes to say dating is just like a 3-ring circus. It's just like a circus. Like everyone's pretending to be who they're not. Everyone's putting on their best clothes and their best this, taking to the fanciest restaurant. Like it's just no basis in reality, right? So we need to really try to ground our singles, to give them a reality check. As parents, I think it's our job to give our children a reality check of what is real in a relationship and what isn't. If you don't think you're capable of doing that, you can outsource it to a dating coach, to a therapist, to give them the leeway and the time that no matter how much pressure society is putting on them in terms of what is expected and what's normal, they need to take the time that they need, especially if they've been through a broken engagement. They need more time because now they don't trust their own judgment, which is a terrible place to be. What if? I thought I was sure last time, but then look what happened, right? So it's a very, very uncomfortable place to be. And we have to really empower them, listen to them. And if a child is saying, he's really wonderful, but I don't like him, I'm not attracted to him, I don't look forward to going out. Every time I'm with him, I feel like I would make you happy, but it doesn't make me happy, right? There's a situation here with two friends, they're two families that are best friends, their kids got engaged. And it was like the most natural thing because the friends are best friends. But one side was like, I know that this was kind of what everyone expected, but I can't do it. I'm not feeling that way. I'm not feeling it. I don't want to be here. And it was a disaster, total disaster with the relationships between the two families. But we have to.
Okay, I want to interject something because I think that this is really, really, really important. We title this Practical Chizuk because it's so practical, right? It's on the ground, things that we have to do. And we always talk about it. I think this is a perfect place to insert it. Hashem is in this picture.
Of course.
This is, I'm speaking out there, I'm speaking to me. I could say from my own experience, there were moments, I think, where I gave lip service to that, but I didn't really, really trust that. And that's where it's just so important, like davening and trusting that, like really trusting Hashem in our children's decisions. I think that's a big thing, empowering them, but understanding like, Hashem, I'm going to give her to you, and she's yours, and help her to make the best decision that's right for her and help me to support her through that.
Great tefillah.
These are the I think it's so critical because what you're describing, all the stuff that you're describing that gets all the problems is really self-centered fear that starts welling up inside, and it's human to do this. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. It's just that when that's coming up, it's Hashem's gift to us. I mean, I never know if I say amen if it's over a video. But it's Hashem's gift to us. It's a gift that we have this SOS system called anxiety, called a bad feeling about something, called something doesn't feel right. That's an indicator to pay attention. you know, and I think to honor that. So
I just want to be careful about anxiety, because sometimes anxiety can take on its own.
oh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
You know, it can take on its own form, and anxiety is, you know, a feeling about something real could be real, but anxiety could take on its own form.
Yes. And it could just be anxiety getting in the way of something good. 100%.
I deal with that a lot. I deal with a lot of kalas specifically who are very, very anxious, and when you really boil it down, they're just anxious. Yeah. They're anxious people. They're anxious about everything.
Right.
And they're anxious about this because it's the biggest decision of their life. And when you actually when you actually drill it down, he's a great guy. He's everything they need. He's many things they want. He's going to make a great husband. They're just like, right? And so I work with people. There are many methods I use in how to control the anxiety and help to like calm it down. But just because you have anxiety might not be a reason that the shidduch is wrong.
100%.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that. Listen, Hashem is obviously the most important piece. We also have to make sure we're doing our shtalas to
100%
prevent anything from happening. But if it does happen, we take that as a growth opportunity.
Exactly.
As a stepping stone to moving forward. I also want to just bring up a couple other reasons why engagements happen. So, you know, it used to be that we had two main factors. It used to be that women were very financially dependent on men. Mm-hmm. And therefore, a relationship was meant we'd have security, financial safety, we'd be physically protected. And so women, you know, not just from women didn't want to be alone, right? Their job was in the home. They needed a home. They needed a husband to protect them. They needed money. They weren't going out to work. Nowadays, because women are so independent and most homes operate with a 2-income, you know, home, it's, you know, it's become less dependent on finances, and it's become more expectations emotionally. Right. And instead of fighting that, we have to just kind of call that out and in a sense honor it, because we could say, oh, we live in a generation where everyone just has these expectations of, well, it's true. We do have an expectation for that. And people do want a deeper relationship. And here's the interesting thing. At the same time that many people want that deeper connection, that deeper relationship, they don't want that ordinary marriage. They want that extraordinary connection, that someone who really understands them and gets them, and they can have deep conversations with. As much as that's going on, we also live in a very superficial generation. So what's going on simultaneously is there are many people who are going out with people and like, he's superficial. I can't have like that deeper connection that I want, that I crave. And then there are a lot of people who are getting engaged because superficially they make sense. You know, we drive the same kind of car. We have the same kind of financial realities. We live in the same kind of community. We're the same level of like external frumkeit. We listen to the same kind of music. We like the same kind of restaurants. We come from a similar group of friends. And so that sounds great. We have so much in common. Let's get engaged. And then they get engaged and they realize when you drill it down to the core of who we actually are, right? And this happens with your younger singles, we actually are not really compatible. Right. And those singles didn't mean to do that, but they weren't really in tune with who they are in a deeper, more real internal way. And that's why we can do a service for our kids by helping them get in touch with who they are in a deeper way, because just because you like the same, you know, Coca-Cola brand and you love the same music does not a marriage make, right? So it's really important that our younger singles get more in touch with what's really important and what they really need in a relationship so that they can find that compatibility elsewhere. And for some of the older singles who have more emotional needs, I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I think it actually brings deeper marital satisfaction, but it's definitely harder to find and will take longer to find. So the way I describe it is, I think I've described it once, is you can take a 10-piece puzzle, put it together in no time. It's not that big a deal. I've got 5 pieces. You've got 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, we're a 10-piece puzzle. But, you know, if I've lived life and I've gone through experiences and I've gone through trauma or death or broken engagements or divorce, so all of a sudden, like, I'm like a 2,000-piece puzzle. I'm multifaceted. I'm complicated. I've been so many places. I've had so many experiences that it's going to be harder for that 2,000-piece puzzle to find its other 2,000-piece match. But once that happens, the colorful flavor that creates is much more deep and rich. Yeah. So for those older girls who have gone through certain things that they're feeling frustrated that they can't find that deep relationship, it's not to say that it's not out there. I really would recommend that you not give up on that, because it does create a deeper, richer relationship. But don't get despondent that it hasn't shown up yet. it is harder to find, and it is worth the wait. And that's okay. Here's something we don't like to say in our Frum community. It's okay if you don't get married at 19. It's okay. You can get married at 25. You can get married at 30. Is it better that you got married at 20 and then got divorced by 30?
Right.
Or would you rather just be single from 20 to 30 and then get married at 30 to the right guy? Right? So just everyone, all the pressure's got to just back off. Like just, let the pressure out of the pressure cooker. There's no pressure to get married. We get married when we find the right person. Of course, we daven that it comes with clarity, and it comes not necessarily right away, that it comes when we need it, right. That it's the right time. We also want to make sure that he's in the right place and that he's ready. Super important, right? So we don't want to just jump into something, that's not the right thing necessarily. Right. And I hope that would be, if we're able to use these factors of understanding our singles a little bit more, if we're able to prevent some of the broken engagements, divorce is really very often an extension of that. So Right. It does happen that people are holding secrets that they're not telling, and there are really these big things that you find out later on that happen, and there are divorces for those big reasons. He was abusive. I didn't know he had an addiction. He lied to me about his medication. There are situations like that.
Most of the time,
most of the time,
going down the aisle.
Exactly. And a lot of these couples,
many people over the years.
That's right. Somebody in the relationship made a decision. They saw warning signs of either something very unhealthy or something that they knew could be a problem. Right. And they chose to overlook it. And very often it's because they were attracted to them. They didn't want to disappoint their parents, their shadchan, their friends. Everyone else is married. I don't want to hurt him. Oh, here's a big one. I don't want to hurt him.
Right.
I don't want to hurt him. Oh, wait. So now you just hurt yourself for the rest of your life?
And your children, your potential children,
So let's talk about that for a moment. What kind of home are we creating for our children, who obviously need to learn from our marriage role modeling to then go get married and recreate this? What kind of home are we creating for them when we're creating potentially loveless, disconnected, what I call parallel play marriages, where everybody's kind of playing next to each other? I go to work, you make kiddush, I make a kugel, I have the kids, you take out the garbage, and we are leading lives as if we're married, but there's no connection. We don't really have what to do with each other on any deeper level than the basic day-to-day mundane of being married. Exactly. Right? So those are just a few things. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I apologize. I have a little cold. Those are just a few contributing factors. And if we can empower those young singles to stand up for what they really need, not make anybody feel isolated or alienated by making a decision of breaking an engagement because breaking an engagement means I don't want to be divorced, right? Then we will often prevent many of those divorces. Now, it's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If someone stands under that chuppah and they do get married, for whatever reason that we can't understand, they needed to go through that process. Yeah. And I've seen a tremendous growth from a lot of people who go through divorce, and they do it very differently the next time around. And they needed that. It's a painful lesson, but they needed that. And they'll tell you themselves that they needed that. Obviously, we're not trying to go there, but sometimes we have to. And in those cases, we just have to be supportive.
Kadima, you have to move on.
We have to be supportive. We have to help them move forward, and we have to not judge them, make them feel uncomfortable about it. And I think that we could do a lot of good in that realm. I hope that has shed a little bit of light.
Shed a lot of light. I mean, the message really is a lot of light. We're coming to Hanukkah, and I think that, light, giving space, giving, an ability to think clearly, an ability to I really think the bottom line of what you spoke about, I really want to kind of tie this into Hanukkah, but this is not going to. So what I do think is the main thing that I'm hearing from you, Rachel, is, and I think that it might even be worth another conversation is really about empowering our kids to really get to know who they are. And I think what that means is that us as parents need to know who we are.
So 100%. So I say this all the time. If you want to help your kids get married and be successful at marriage, work on your marriage.
Work on your marriage, 100%.
But they learn this from you I mean, it's so obvious. Like anytime I work with a guy or girl who's in an unhealthy relationship, all you got to do is scratch away a little bit and get to know a little bit about what they've gone through, and it's all there.
And I will say, if you are that person who grew up in a home that was not a healthy one, where there were obvious, dysfunctionalities, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't mean you're doomed to a bad marriage or making bad choices.
Of course not. But awareness is the first step to recovery. If you're aware of it,
exactly,
work on it. That's huge.
But absolutely working on your own marriage. It was a bracha I was given. I think I spoke about this once on one of our webinars. It's a bracha I was given by Rabbi Dishon about 15 years ago. And, he said, no matter what is going on, happened to be, we were talking about just levels of observance between me and my husband. And I was like, what about my children? And he said, your children are going to be fine. He said, in fact, they're going to be more than fine because they're going to grow up in a home where a husband and wife, where their parents respect each other and love each other for their differences.
That's right.
And so I really have empowered people, just work on you and on your marriage and trust your kids. And the biggest...
And when you work on your marriage, here's a really important point. When you work on your marriage, you're teaching your children with nonverbal messages that when something comes up in their relationship, because things will come up, and they're newly married and they're like, oh, he just did something and I don't like it. And I'm really upset. I'm going to cry myself to sleep. What would my mom do? Oh, you know what? They would talk about it. Okay, wait a second. Maybe we're not totally forgone here. Maybe we're not completely falling apart. You teach them the tools and the skills to say, it's okay. I can pick myself up and we can work together and we can become stronger after this. And that's super important. There's lots of premarital counseling classes that are going on for young couples. I think it's super important. I think that couples should be going because I think there's a very, because the frum community is very tzniistic and very private, as we should be, there are many topics that we don't talk about. We don't talk about arguments and disagreements. We don't talk about privacy between a husband and wife. We don't talk about these things. And therefore, there's little that's known. And so singles are in the dark. And when they get married, they think that they're doing something wrong or something that they're experiencing is a problem because they've never heard it anywhere else. And it's really important that couples go for that counseling if they need it in order to get the support that they need.
I think you're onto something, actually. And I think maybe it's something we have to explore is, we do kala and chassan classes for Taras HaMishpacha, but really we need chassan and kala classes for emotional.
No, so there are a lot of group and private classes. I know that Shalom Task Force does group and private premarital classes for engaged couples. I think it's super important.
So important.
I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Have a wonderful Hanukkah.
I hope that this talk has enlightened all.
I think it has. I think it has. And may everybody, the message of Hanukkah is that we partner with Hashem in this world. We partner with Him, and
bring light.
And there's light, and there's I love Rabbi Niven always says this. Like you do tshuva, you do Rosh Hashanah, you do all your introspection, and then on Yom Kippur, then Aseret make tshuva, you do tshuva, and Yom Kippur you do tshuva, but then Hashem gives us until Shmini Atzeret, and then He says, but then he goes, Hanukkah, Hanukkah, we have until Hanukkah, that's when the gates really close. But if you don't do it by Hanukkah, you have Purim. There's always something, but Hanukkah is really a very, very special time.
I love Hanukkah.
May we all capitalize on that light. And when you light candles, daven that you should be the mother, the father.
Daven. Like I always say, if you don't ask, you don't get. We got to daven.
That's right. All right. Great to see you. Take care.
Kaya. Bye-bye.
We're still recording.